Thanks, Kaden. Thanks, Nicole. So welcome everyone to this workshop. As Kaden already introduced, this is presented by Genius Coders Academy that offer computer science courses such as Scratch, mobile app, Java, Python, HTML, AP Comp Science to kids from grades K to 12.
I don't know if your audio, I think your audio might have cut out there for a bit. I don't know if that's just me.
Yeah, Lena, I think you're muted, possibly.
Here, maybe, oh, it might be internet connection, maybe, because your screen is frozen now as well. Oh, there. I hear, but I can't see your face.
Not sure what's going on. Let me know, is it good now?
We can hear the audio, but your face is, oh, okay, there, it's back now, yeah.
Okay. And I think your faces I cannot see, Kaden. You just switch it off.
Yeah, I turned off my video so they can focus on the presentation and yourself, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, it's much better now. Okay, sorry about that. Yep.
Okay. All right, guys. So all these HTML elements, they have their own tags. It's an opening and closing tags. They come in pairs, and these tags we represent with an angle bracket. All right. So every page, there are the three important tags, no matter what your web page is. So first element is an HTML. It's a starting point over there, and then you have an head tag, and then comes the body tag. So this is how your structure, this is the minimum structure of every web page that is there. So it starts, as you can see, it comes in pairs. It starts with an HTML, the starting tag. It ends with a closing tag over here with a /. And then in between, there is a head section, and head section is again, there is an opening and closing, and then comes the body tag where the entire thing that you wanted to show on your web page is presented in the body tags. All right, guys, for this workshop, we are going to build this project. All right, so it's more hand-ons. This is the end result that we are going to do. So first part is we are going to build an HTML page, and then we are going to move to the CSS where we are going to apply the styles to it. All right, so here is a little breakdown over here. As you can see, on the top over there, we have a header section. Everything from top to bottom, you can see gonna be inside the body tag over there. And the top part is the header section. And then we have a main section. And the last part at the bottom is the footer section up over there. All right, to get started, this is the very first thing we are gonna do. And the tool that we are going to use to build our web page is REPL, which has already been sent to you guys. So we are going to switch between, because as it's a hands-on, so you guys open your REPL. All right, this is how it looks like. You guys have probably signed up over there. If not, you guys please sign up over there. Once you sign up, you have to hit this blue button, the new REPL. And from here in the language tab, you have to select HTML. If you're not able to see, just type HTML and it will pop up. You can give over here your name, whatever. You wanted to call it, and then hit that blue button, create REPL. And this will take you right over here. And you can see by default, REPL will do some groundwork for you guys. Here it is already created .index.html file, which is our HTML file. That's where we are going to code. And later on, we are going to move to the CSS file, which is already created as well. It's a blank file over there. But as we are right now focusing on HTML, and of course, you can drag these windows. That's how I'm doing it. You can make it big and small. And on the right hand side is the window where we are gonna see our output right over here. All right. As you can see, the structure is already built over here. The very first thing is the doc type. Then there is an HTML tag on line number 2 with a closing tag on line number 12. And then we have a head section. It has already been filled with the metadata, which is where you put the information such as like, so your site can show up on the Google search or SEOs. Basically, this is where the metadata information goes over here, any title that you wanted to give it. And then in the body, of course, your main web page that you wanted to build upon. All right, so our goal for this one right now over here is to create a header section. And we are going to change the title as well. Let's call it touchdown, as that's what our website represents. And coming into the body section, we are going to create our first header section. As of now, it's empty, but as we are going to move forward, we are going to build upon. As of now, we are kind of the very first step in designing your website is organizing. And you organize by putting upon these containers, and that's what we are doing as of now. All right, so we just created the title and the header section into our HTML file onto the REPL. All right, and here I have talked about this thing that the middle section, the main section where we are presenting, there is a lot of details over there. As you can see, there are the titles, subtitles over there are images, and of course there are the further links inside that. Okay, and what these links gonna be, they are linking to the individual website or linking to the town to get further information, which we are not gonna do at this point of a time, but we will be making it just a linkable link over there. All right, and then the last section in our body page is the footer section, and that's what we are going to add that container into our HTML file. So moving back to our REPL, let's add that. And the main section, the one that contains a lot of information, we are going to do over there and add a main section to that. Right, so now we have divided our main body into the 3 parts: header, main, and footer. This is how it looks like as of now. We have accomplished our final task till here. All right, so containers are you can say you can divide your whole page into the containers. You use a lot of containers on your web pages. This is the way you organize, you broke down your components into that way. And we have already done 3 containers: the headers, the main, the footer section. All right, now inside these containers, we are going to fill in further information onto that. So in our header section, the very first section, we have an image as well as a title component. All right. So generally in the header section, you would like to add like an introduction or maybe a logo of your company, maybe a main image of that, or maybe a navigation bar. So generally those kind of things, if you are building, even in this competition, if you're representing a company over here, you might have to do some navigation over there, might be a business company logo or image. So that is something you can put inside your header section. Right. So to do the heading, because that's what it's going to reflect, it has to be bold and beautiful up over there. So it is presented, we have 6 heading tags that are available in HTML. It goes from H1 to H6, H1 being the most highest, biggest in size, and H6 being the least over there. So we are going to use the H1 tag for our site over here. All right, and we are also gonna add the images. So image link has already been sent to you guys, so I will show you how we are gonna upload to our REPL project, and then we are gonna add these things to our web page. So let's move upon to our REPL. So first thing, into our header section, let's go over here. I'm just gonna press the enter key and making it more space there. And let's add our H1 tag. All right, and the next thing right now, if you wanted to just see, we have just first thing that we can show it on our web page. If you run it, you have to hit on the top green button, run, to see your output. And if you go on the right hand side, that's where you will see your output. Welcome to touchdown. That is our H1 tag over there. That's the main heading into our this web page. All right, now moving to the images. So what you guys gonna do is, onto your left hand side, into the file structure over there, you're going to click on these three dots, and you can upload the whole folder, or you can do the upload file. Either way is fine. So onto that link that has been sent in the chat, you will see there are 4 images. So upload all of them. Right. So there is town food, there is header, there is shop, there is sleep. That's what you guys needed. All right. So this is how your file structure looks like into our REPL as of now. And now, since we have our images done, let's add to our main header section the image that we need to add it to our header section. And the image that we need to add is called the town header. All right, that's the image we have to add. So for that, we are going to use the tag img src. So src is the source. So what is the name? And this name should match up whatever you have it. You cannot put like upper and lowercase. So match up whatever your file name is over there in these quotation marks. And also image tag is a self-closing tag. Okay, so there, this is not where you can, I have another image and have a separate closing tag. It's a self-closing, so I put the / right over there. All right, so now here we have an image and we have an alt thing. So this alt thing, what is alt does is, let's say if something happened, maybe your internet is a bit slow or your file got corrupted and it is not able to load. So at that time, rather than showing, the user can still get it, okay, what is this image about? Then at that time, this alternative text will appear over there on your web page. But if your image is there, this will not then show up because it's alternative. Now, if you run it, you should be able to see that image, which as of now, not showing in my this now. Okay, because reason is I have a copied version of that. So you can see the name is dash slash with a copy. Let me just, I can rename it here as well. Let me use the same name that was there in your Google Drive. All right, now it should show up. And if I run it, there it is. So you can see that image right up over there on our web page as of now. So we have an image and we have a heading tag into that. And you did see when my initially, because I have the copied image, the image was not there. There was an alternative text over there. But once my image is there, the alt attribute text is not there. So our header section is done. Moving upon. Now we are going to come to our main section. All right. And what we are going to do is even our main, we are going to subdivide into 3 sections. All right, again, we are containing the small containers inside our bigger container, the main, which we have already done it. So let's first make these smaller sections. So we need 3 sections. All right. First section is for the
Your audio cut out again.
All right, guys. Again.
Back, yeah. It's back now.
All right. So here again, guys, we are into our main section. Here in the main section, we are gonna break down our web page into the 3 subsections. The top section will be a sleep section with an image over there. Next, the middle part is the food section, and the last section will be the shop section over there. All right. So what we are doing over here is inside our main container, we are adding 3 more containers. All right. Section 1, section 2, and section 3. All right. So let's first add those container tags onto our web page. So go into your main tag and add 3 sections. So we got our 3 sections right over there, and now we are going to populate that. So you can see by having this, by dividing our website into these containers and then filling in, it makes much more sense and much more organized. And we are kind of like building it upon one thing at a time, right? So next part, now inside each section, how it looks like, right? So if we go into each section, you can see each section contains an image and then there is some text component, right? So we have further divided it. Another heading, and then we have a list component over here into that. All right. So we are going to use an image tag and a div tag. We are adding another container because we have 2 components to add to our section. So let's add these containers to our web page. So we are going to go to each section right over here and add image. Since it's a standalone, it's self-closing, so I'm just going to add that as well. And then we are adding the div tag to contain our list as well as the text component. All right, and since our each section is identical, each section contains the image as well as the div. So right now I'm going to add that thing to each of my section. So go to your second section, add the image tag, add your div tags.
I think I'm not sure if you're talking right now, but I don't know if you're just working, but I don't think we can hear you at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not talking, just typing.
Okay, perfect. Just making sure.
All right, so guys, here we are. You should be able to hear me now. And inside each section, we have an image and div, image and div. So 3 sections, and inside we have those 2 containers in each of the sections. All right, guys. So now here we are gonna, of course, we are gonna add our images to our image tag in each of the section, which we are gonna do that. A little bit about div over here. So div element is very, very useful when you have to group certain components in your web page, right? And you feel like there is no other container that makes sense, then you can always, you know, come back to the div and can use it. And that's what we are doing over here for the div tag. All right, and we have already discussed about this thing that each section we have an image and then we have a div tag. Div tag contains a heading section and we have a list over there with 2 list items and the anchors. We are going to make this anchors as well, basically a linkable links inside this section. All right, so let's add all of those things to over all the 3 sections. So let's go back into the REPL and finish that off. So go to your first section. Let's add an image over here. Source. And again, we have already images. So the first one is the sleep image over there. And again, we are going to provide an alt attribute over there. And inside the div, we are going to add, all right, so here we are going to do H2 heading because we have already used the H1 heading up over there on our header section, right? So this is like kind of a subheading, which I want a little smaller in size. So we will be using over here H2 tag. All right, so let's run and see how it looks like. And so hit the run button and make your output big, and let's scroll down. And there, yes, right now is gigantic, guys, so don't worry, we will fix it through CSS later on. And you can see over here the image has been added right through my image, and then I have added the sleep H2 tag over there, and it is right underneath over there. And again, if you're not able to see any part of the image, double check on your spellings. That's like a very, very common error and can be the reason. All right. All right, so we just finished the source tag, we finished the h2 tag over here. Now we are going to talk about the list component because we do have the list part over there, right? So HTML comes with two lists. One is the ordered list where you can place numbers, alphabets, even, the Romans and all those things. And one is an unordered list, which is like bullet points instead of numbers, right? And we are going to use the unordered list in our section. So you can see over here, this is an unordered list with a bullet over there in front of them. All right. To do the unordered list, you start with the UL tag. So unordered UL. UL stands for unordered list. And each item, since we have two items underneath, we are going to create two li items inside the UL tags over there. Li stands for list items. All right. So let's add this one, guys. Right over here. So UL will be underneath our H2 tag. So we have made the structure over here for our unordered list with two items in each category. You guys might be wondering, like you must have seen it when I created my UL list, like unordered list, I immediately put the closing tag over there and then went back and then added my list items, right? This is like a more from a practical standpoint, guys, like in the real world, because it's very, very easy for us to forgetful, right? I mean, you will type over list element and then you forget the closing tag. The HTML is pretty lenient language. Most of the browser will not bother, but sometimes maybe in other browser, one browser it is showing up, in other browser it might create the problem. So it's always a good practice when you are making your opening tag to add the closing tag right over there and then come back to whatever you want to add inside over there, like a nested thing. So li is like a nested thing inside your UL. Then go back over there and add the items like that. So this is a programmer tip I can say I'm giving you guys over here. All right, so we created the structure here for our unordered list, guys. And now how do we do the links, right? So we do have a links, and in this web page, when we are going to click on those list, right, the unordered list over there, it's not going to take us to an actual page. All right, we can do that, but it's going to be a pretty long workshop otherwise. So we are not going to do, but we'll still make it a linkable item over there. So the anchor tag starts with an A, all right, and href. So this will refer to the link wherever you want to take that link to. And then after that, you have a text over there that will make an anchor tag that you're going to click here, and then the closing anchor tag over there. All right, that's how the anchor tag works. And that's what we are going to do inside our list item. Link as of now. So we are going to just put it with a hashtag. All right, first list items. So the very first thing is here, what we wanted to display is snooze in. And over here, the second list item is ZZ Hotel. So this is our list item. Let's first look at that, how it looks like. And again, move your windows. And there you see our list items are there. And since it's an unordered list, so you will see the bullets has been added. And we have two items, the snooze in, ZZZ Hotel up over there. Next, what we are going to do here is we are going to make these links the anchor. So here you're going to nest inside your list element a tag with the link to. So since if let's say this nose in is going to go to some web page, right? Over here, you're going to give that whole URL. But in our case, we are just going to do the hashtag. And then inside this, your closing anchor tag. All right. So right now, if we run it, you should see this list item. There it is. So you can see it's already underlined, right? It is now a clickable. It's like a link. So if I click on that, it's just going to take me to this page only, of course, because of the hashtag, but it is clickable link. And we are going to do the same thing to our second item up over there, the ZZ Hotel. Let's add our anchor tag. With the anchor tag added to that as well. And again, we are going to test. So it's also important, guys, again, from the realistic point of view, whenever you add something, always check at the same time, always test it the minute you added it, because sometimes you feel confident, okay, I know we just tested snooze in is working, but you never know. You might forget to close the angle bracket. You might forget your / over here, and it is a broken link, right? So if you finish up everything, these kind of mistakes, then you have to go back and it takes more time in debugging. So it's good practice to just test it. And you can see, wow, my ZZZ hotel is not a link, even though I entered the anchor tag. And let's look into that. What happened? Href, closing. Let's run it one more time. All right, I can see now it's there, guys. All right, so it is there. So ZZZ, it is clickable link. And again, if I click on it, you will see it's gonna just take to the top of the page. All right, so for our first section, it is done. All right, now we have two more sections and we are gonna do the similar thing because the other two sections are identical, only the image and the content's gonna be different. So let's go to our second section and add over things. The first one is image with the source. And this will be your town food. All right, so we have added the image over there. And then we have a div over there. So let's add first div commands. We're gonna come back here. And again, I will run it and make sure the image is there. So now you scroll down, you should have a second image right over there, which looks good. We do have the restaurant image. And inside this, we are going to add our H2 element. And our unordered list. So let's make sure these two items are there as an unordered list. So again, hit the run button, scroll down, and there it is. So in my food, I can see an angle, extra angle bracket. So that's always good practice. Again, as I said, it's always good to run and test sure as you are building along. So seems good, food is good, two list items are there. And let's make these list items as a clickable links. So put your anchor tag with the hashtag. And same thing for our second item. And again, run it and make sure those two list items are now clickable. And there it is. The moment you see, you will see it's underlined and all that. And if I run, so I hit the just cookies, it's taking me to the top of the page. And again, if I hit the cake too, it's taking me to the top of the page. So both the links are working. And now guys, we are going to move to our third section in the main. Oh, 1 second, guys. All right, I can see there's one extra section, so I just wanted to delete that first. All right, moving to our next one. So let's add an image here. This is our shop image. First, let's make sure everything looks good with the image. Yep, we have the shop image right over there under the food section. And now we are going to go to our div tag and add our H2 element there. And we are going to add our unordered list as well. Here we have all right, let's run and see our list items under this third section. There it is. So we do have the shop over there, heading H2, and then we have added two list items. The puppy parade and the cool kittens are right up over there. So everything looks good so far. And now we are gonna add our link to these H items. So let's do that. And your closing anchor tag right over here. And let's run it. Scroll down to the bottom of your page. And there it is, both are clickable. And if I click puppy parades, it is taking me to the top of the page. And if I click cool kittens, it's taking me to the top of the page. So far everything looks good. And this is our main section also ends. All right, guys, so we have completed over 3 sections. We have coded all of these things. And now comes, we do have a footer section that we are just gonna add on now. And footer is very, very simple, guys. We are just gonna have a p tag over there inside our footer section. So let's add that. We already have a footer section. So go into that container and just add a p tag with the content that you wanted to add. So now if we run it and look over this HTML page, and all right, images are gigantic. We're gonna do that. And here is our footer section right over there with a simple p tag, nothing fancy dancy, right over there. All right. All right, guys, so this is our full preview and we already checked it. This is exactly our website looks like as of now. So we have completed the HTML part of it. And just a look back at the elements that we have used to create this page. So the very first page, the very first tag is the HTML, which holds all our HTML component. This is your starting tag up over there. Then comes the head section where we put information about the website, like we put the title over there, the title of the website, and then the body section, which holds all your page content. Inside our project, we use the header section. This is just to hold your main information, our welcoming message over here. And we do have H1. Generally, you do H1 or H2 overheadings, which we used H1. Then images, we use the image tag. And then in our main, we use the main as a container. And inside our main, we split it into 3 sections and we have used the section tag for that. And then after the section, inside our each section, we have an image and we have used the div tag because we have to group together the image and the list, right? Since they don't fall into any category because it's not a standalone section, it's not a standalone header or anything, we group them together into a div tag. And then we have an unordered list we created with the UL tag and the list items over there and an anchor. We made these list items clickable using an anchor tag. And the last part we added at the bottom is the footer section, and that's we added through the footer container. All right, guys, so far, so good. And now comes the part of styling to our web page, which is the second important component of your web page. All right, so for the CSS, guys, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. All right, it is used for styling your websites. And just like over HTML, we have seen it has an extension .html. CSS has an extension .css file. All right. And to link, okay, now your CSS file, guys, I will show you this thing into the REPL. Now, when you're gonna have an HTML and CSS, basically CSS is gonna style your HTML elements that we have added, right? So it's basically interacting with your elements in the HTML file. And you can see REPL does that for you. There is a style.css file already created. And if you click on that, as of now, it's a blank file, which we are gonna add. Now to link, right, you have to tell your HTML file where your CSS file is, all right? So if you're using any other editor, You might have to do this manual work, but REPL does that for you. So if you go on here into your REPL and look at your line number 7, this is the linking file. All right, so you can see over here link, it is referring to href style.css, which is this file it is telling about. What is the relation? Rel means the relation style sheet, and what type of it is the text.css. So you have to provide, let's say if REPL does not give you, you have to manually do this thing. If you're missing this thing again, then it will not add any CSS to your HTML page. So this is the most important and the starting point for your CSS. All right, so in our CSS file, now what we are going to do to refer to our HTML elements, we will add the class attributes, all right, to our elements in the HTML. And then we are going to refer those, we are going to give them the class name, and using that, we are going to add the styles in our CSS file, all right? So let's say in my header section, let's say if I wanted to give it a class, I will give it a primary header. Again, give a useful and relevant names, guys. Otherwise, it gets very, very confusing as you're making multi-pages. It gets, trust me, from practical standpoint, it gets very confusing. Always give relevant. So I'm giving it primary header because this is my main header, right? So whatever makes sense, just give those names. And now, once you have this class, I'm going to use the class as I mentioned, right? So to refer the classes into your CSS file, you're going to use the dot notation. So you can see when I'm referring primary header, I put a dot in front of it. All right. And then whatever styles I wanted to add, we are adding that attribute and that value to it. Okay, we'll talk about all this into our REPL. So for this web page that we are building, we have a background color. Okay, and the background color is a little light yellow color. And also, guys, I am going to use this hashtag over here, and the code for that is FAF8DA. What this is all about, I will just explain you. So let's go into REPL. And the very first thing what we are going to do is go to your header section, and over there, give it a class name. We are going to call this primary header. Again, make sure same spellings when you're, if you make a mistake in spellings when referring to your CSS file, it will not do any styles. Okay, so yes, names matter, spellings matter, everything matter, even case sensitive. It does matter if P is capital or H is capital as well. All right. So I have given over here primary header. Now I'm going to go to my CSS to give a style to it. Okay, so very first thing we are going to do is the main color. So for that, I'm just going to do body, and you have to use your curly braces for that inside your CSS file. And let's say I wanted to add a background color. All right. And what value I wanted to give, as I mentioned, we are using that light yellow color. The code for that is F8DA. Sorry, my bad. Let me redo. F8DA with a semicolon right over there. So you can see it is showing you that color. And if you run it, your entire page will take that background color. And there it is. All right. So here also I'm going to point it out, guys. I personally like this website. There is this color hack website, and also there is this color picker, which is through the Google. Like if you Google search it, color picker, because in this competition you might refer this. So let's say, how do I get this code, right? You might be wondering, this is a hex number, guys. So our colors are made off of RGB value. All right. So this, I really like this one, the color picker. You can see over here, like, let's say if you want any shade, right? You wanted to go to, like, let's say you want a blue shade in your website. You decided it's a blue. Like I decided it's going to be yellow, right? So we went over there. Then you can move this cursor over here and put that shade. Like, let's say I want this shade, lighter shade, darker shade, whatever you like it. Do that. And below that, you will see a unique hex number right over there with a hashtag. So this tells the first two numbers for R, G, and B. All right, and this is unique. No matter what, this is going to be unique wherever you see. So you just copy paste here this code right over there, and it will take that color. All right, again, it's a color picker site, and I think there is one more.
I think your audio cut out once again.
Is that better?
Yeah, now you're back.
Okay. So guys, I just mentioned the color again. Color picker or color hacks, both are good. I personally like color picker. So, but again, anything is okay as long as you decide the color that you want to work on. All right. So that's about for our color picker, guys. And now for the font styles, of course, we are going to use Open Sans for our entire font family for our web pages. All right, to use the font style into your web pages, we are going to add a link. All right, this link you need to add it over there, and this link will go right over there where we have added the CSS file. All right, so let's add that link to our I'm gonna just So guys, I'm just sending that link in the chat. You might need that. So just copy paste it, and we are going to add that link to our HTML file to use those font styles. So go to your, just where you have added your CSS file right over there. Copy paste that link that is in the chat. So this is pretty much similar that we have talked about for the style.css. This time you're referring to that font style that we need to add, and relation and all that is still the same. It is through the CSS. And now once you have this thing, we are going to go back to over style.css, and inside over here, I wanted to change Open Sans. All right, so it will apply those styles, and you can see it does. Now the font family has changed for mine. I can just see from the header section, and that's how you do that. And there are other font family styles as well that you can look through that link and can add to your web page. All right, so next guys, we are going to go over here. So now we are going to add styles to our header CSS fonts over there. So for our main heading, we are going to add some class, give it a unique name through the class, and then we are going to fix those sizes and the colors that we wanted to do it. All right, so let's add these styles to our REPL. Going to your HTML file. So you're going to go to your header section. Right over here, we have a header section. And go to your H1 element. And here we are going to give it a class name. This is your main heading. And for the image right over here, let's give it a class. Review. in the header section to H1 main heading, to image inside your header section town preview. And now we are going to apply CSS to this heading and to this main image onto our web page. So go to your CSS file.
I think you cut out once again. So maybe we can go back.
And
I think we cut out for like 30 seconds.
okay, sure, Kaden.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So for over here, as I just added, going back, we just added the classes to our H1 on line number 13. That's the main heading up over there. And to our image over here, I have given the class name town preview. Okay. So we added those two class name, and now I went back to my CSS. And with the dot notation, whenever you are using the class, you have to use the dot, the period in front of it, then give the class name, the name that you have put it in your HTML file. Everything should match up over there. And now I'm changing the font size and for the color part of it. So here we are using. So that's for my heading. Now, if I run this, you will just look on the heading section, because that's where we applied the style. You see over here, styles has been added, font size 70 pixel, and the color is right over there. Okay? And if you make it big, this is how it looks like. And now underneath, the second HTML class we have added is a town preview, which is for the town header image. So let's go into CSS and add there. So for our, again with the dot notation, with the curly braces, let's do the width of that. Generally for the images, width and height is the big thing. And let's do 650 pixel. And if I run it, let's make our page bigger. And you can see, so it's just for the main image, which is in the header section. And you can see it looks pretty good over there, right over there with 650 pixel width. I can even do that. All right, so we have fixed our header. We have applied the CSS to our header section. And next come our main section. Again, in the main section, we have 3 subsections. All right. And what we are going to do in the main section is we have the images over there, right? Each section contains an image. So I'm going to fix the width of each of those images because they are pretty big, as we have already seen that. All right. Now to club them together, right? Because each image, I wanted the same width, right? It is not like one is big, one is small. I wanted consistency over there. So I can use the same class name and then can apply the width property. So all the 3 images are taking the styles at the same time. All right, that's what we are going to do. So this is something unique. I know pretty much you guys have been sent some links to, do your basic HTML and CSS. And you might have seen over there, they must have mentioned the ID as well. Instead of a class, you can use the ID. So here, the beauty of class is this, that if you have to apply, just like in our case right now, you can use the same class name. But if I would have used the ID needs to be unique. You cannot give a same ID to 3 different, containers over there. So keep that in mind. There's a flexibility with regards to classes. So now we are going to add the building to all our images in the HTML. So let's go into REPL. And let's go to our HTML file. And let's go to section. So the first section with an image, give it a class name, building. And we are going to add the same class to each of the image in each of the section. All right. So just go to each image. Add the class name building. And to our third section, add the building there. Now let's go to our CSS. So dot notation, building, the name of our this thing, and curly braces, and let's specify the width. And let's see how it looks like with that width. Well, they look pretty good now, right? Decent size. Earlier they were gigantic. Now we set the width, and you can see with the class name, I'm able to change the width, apply that CSS to all of my 3 section images, right? So even my second image over here, and even for the food, it has taken that. And that's the, you can say, the capacity of using the class versus ID in our HTML. So they look pretty good with 200. All right. So next part comes is, guys, the section headings. All right. So under each section, we have another heading, right? The subheading where we use the H2. So what we are trying to do over here is for our 3 smaller headings, let's have the same class name. Again, we are going to use the same class name so that they each take the same color and the font size, right? You're going to keep the consistency in your website. But let's say if you wanted a different color, different styles for your subsections, then you don't need to create the same ID. You can use the class and have a different name. But if you want the same style, you have to give the same class name. All right. And we are going to keep the same. So let's add this ID and let's apply CSS to it. And inside your H2, we are going to give it so inside our H2 for the first one, let's give it a class name, and we are going to call it category. Heading. So that's the name we are giving it. And this is the same, again, same class name in each of the section to our H2 tags. So go ahead, do that. So let's go into our food section, give the class name. Category heading. Again, you see my names are so relevant, right? Because it is a subcategory and it is the heading section, right? So you won't get confused. As you can see, when we started with very small things, but it's getting built upon and so many things are added upon, right? So if you are not paying attention, it's very easy to be, oh, what did I name it? And then, going back and forth, back and forth. So we always give meaningful name. And again, going to my H2 tag into the shop section over there and give it a class name, category heading. And now we are going to go to our CSS to apply the styles to that. So we are going to do the font size, and of course, we are going to do the color. So again, with the dot notation. And here we are going to do the color. And font size. And now if we run it, let's see how our H2 tags looks like. Basically the headings of our 3 sections. There it is. So we applied that color and we did the font size over there. 30 pixels look pretty good. So this is what we added over there. All right. Next comes, so we did our headings, right, in the section, and underneath we have the list, and those lists are the links as well, right? So now we are going to add the CSS to them. And one of the things that is very, very frequent that we do is to change the color of your bullets, right? So there are 2 bullets. We have used the unordered list, and you wanted to change the color of that. So we will do that. And for the links also, we are going to just change the size and the color for that. So again, we are going to use our IDs, basically class in our HTML. So let's do that and go to our HTML file. And this time we are going to go to the store list. So again, go to each section, starting with the first section on the top, and into your UL, we wanted to give it a class. And let's give it a name, store list. All right. And now we are going to do the same name for our next section. And under the third section, go into your ULL and give it the same class name. And again, same class name, so we can change the style at the same time. And again, name seems relevant. It's a store list, right? So we are giving that name. Now let's go into our CSS and apply styles. So again, dot notation, store list with the curly braces. And here we wanted to change the color. And you can see that color, REPL shows it right over there, what color that will be. And if we see in our output, our bullets in the list should take this color, and there it is. So you can see my bullet color is the same, the one it is displayed on line number 25, right? So it has changed for the sleep section. Let's scroll down further. It has changed for the food section, those bullet points, and for our shop section, again, it has changed it. All right. Oh, yeah. We have to do the link part as well. So let's go into that REPL again. And for the links, go to your index and let's add the class IDs. So for the link, let's add a section into our A tag. And again, I'm going to start from the top section. So go inside your A tag, because it is for the link. So it's not for the list item. It's not for the UL. It's for my anchor tag. So I'm going to go inside my A tag and over there, give it a class. And you will call it store link. And since I'm using lowercase, I will just keep it consistent, store link, everything in the lowercase. And this thing, A tag, we do have it over here as well. So give it there too. This is the first section. Going to the second section inside the A tag over there. So 2 anchor tags in the second section and the last section. Again, the anchor tag, class name. And same thing for our last item. So we added 6 of those, 2 in each section. Now going to our style. And let's add that. So again, with the dot notation, store link, curly brackets. And the things that we needed to change is the color. And the font size. And let's see how it looks like now. And if we run it. All right, so you can see over links now, they have taken that color, the orangish shade, and the size looks pretty good, 20 pixel over there. And same thing should be with our other list item, just cookie seems okay, cake too. And I'm also checking at the same time, they are clickable. Like I'm not clicking, but I can see my cursor changing it into that hand shape. So they are clickable. And my last items over there, Puppy Parade, Cool Kittens, everything looks good over there. All right, guys, with that, list has been added, links has been added. Now comes our last part of that is the footer section, which looks very, very bland as of now. And let's add some styles to it. All right. So again, we are going to create a class name for our footer section. So going back to our REPL and then add the styles to it. And let's see, where is our footer section, which is right over here. And here we are gonna give an ID to it. And now what we want to do for our primary footer is go to CSS. Again with the dot notation. And here what we wanted to do is, let's give it a, since it's a different, right? It's a footer section. So let's do a background color. Let's see. How it is. Nope. And why is that? Let's see primary footer. Let's go back to CSS and see what's happening here. Okay, I got it. It's not the spelling. So on my line number 28 for my store link, here I need to add my curly bracket. So that's why it's complaining. Now, if I run it, we should be having that background color to our footer section. Let's see. And there it is. So you can see it has given this entire background color, the color that we have added to our footer section. Now let's add the style to our P element, which is inside the footer sections. So go into your HTML file. And let's go into P tag there. And over here, let's create a class. Created by. And let's go into CSS and add that. So what we need to change, definitely we have to change it. Let's see. There it is. So we have created with enthusiasm, looks like, and font size has increased, and we have also applied a different color, and all those styles is working on our footer tag. All right, again, this is what we did to our footer. We added a background color and we applied the styles to our P tag by creating another class name for it. All right, guys. So guys, this is something useful to know of, that every element in our web page, it contains a box model, right? So you can think of it like an invisible box around each of your HTML element, all right? And we have a top section, we have a bottom section, and the left and the right. So let's say your content is right where in the middle on your web page, all right? It has a width and the height property. So the very first area around that invisible box is called the padding space, all right, to control the spacing. And then next comes the border, all right, after the border comes the margin. So think about this is your main page, the blue border line. Then between that to your content, you have a margin, then comes the border, and immediately around your content, you have a padding. So through this padding and margin, right, you can control the spacing around that. And these are very, very useful, very powerful, which, yes, of course, you guys use in your web pages for the spacing element. And this is called the box model. So here is another example. So think about, right, this is right over here. The pink box that is shown right over here is your content. It is some content on your web page, right? And you wanted this content to be not right over here. As you can see on my this slide, it has already has given this much white space to the left. So the way you can do is you can specify the padding left, okay? And I'm giving that padding from the left 20 pixels. So it is giving this much space, and then it is displaying this element right over there. And for the border property, what we are doing over there is, so I'm displaying a border, which is solid border of this color, that hashtag, that hex number, and 4 pixel is the width of that. Okay, so that's what it is displaying. And let's say if you wanted to put this padding and you wanted to have a 20 pixel all around your this component, you can do that. You can just delete the left, you just put the padding, then it will be all around it. But if you want a specific just on any of the specific edge, let's say left, right, or top, then you have to specify that one over there, right? And we have already done, and now we are going to do some layout to our web page. We have done the CSS part, and now we are going to just do a little bit crisp things over here with regards to our layout. So let's add those things. Going back to our wrapper. And what we are going to do, so as of now, let's see how it is. I wanted to do right now is I wanted to align it to the center of my main page. All right, so that's the layout part. So let's go into our HTML. And since this belongs to header, right now I can correlate. Okay, I wanted to work with my header with my regards to layout. I just go into my header section and just do over there. All right, so since I wanted both the elements in my header section H1 as well as my image to be right in the middle of the page, so I'm just going to give a class which we have already done it before. I have already given a name, primary header, right over there. All right, so now let's go into our CSS to this thing. What I wanted to do is, so you use the property text align. You can do it center, left, and right. So we wanted it in the center. So let's run that with the text align. And if we run it and you stretch up, there it is. It is right in the center of the page. And if I have to look it more precisely, I can even copy paste this link and just do it over here. And there you see right now it's right there in the center of the page, and that's what we wanted to accomplish with the layout of that. All right, so we'll do a little more layouts with our other components as well. All right, so the next part is coming to our main section. So we fixed our header section. We are pretty happy. Now we are coming to our sections, and our goal for the section is in each section we have an image, and then we have a text H2 heading, and then we have two list components in each section, right? So the thing that we wanted to do in our section is to make that content and those list elements, they are sitting next to each other, right? Not horizontally aligned, which not vertically aligned, which is right now. We wanted it, they should be next to each other. So this is a pretty new concept, guys, flex box, which we are going to use right now. So with the display effects on the container, it will place next to each other. All right, and that's what we are going to add up over there. So right now, if I don't apply that flex box, you see right now the image is here, and for my sleep section and the components, the list components are just stacking. They are vertically aligned. Everything is vertical aligned. Sleep over here, this thing. And if I go into the next section, food, same thing, food and the list, this is the image, and they are going down. And same thing for our third section right over here. We have an image and the shop and this thing. So our goal is to move these elements right next to over here, right? And that is through the flex box. So what we are going to do, all right, so this is for each section, right? So for the entire section, we wanted to apply that. So I'm going to go into the section part of each one, give it a class over there, and let's call it store section. Right. So why I chose to put this class over here, because my inside section, I want that flex model, right? That flex thing to be applied to the image and to the div tags, right? Inside div, though, I have an H2 and the list element. So this is the most appropriate place where you have to use this class name now. And since we wanted it for each of the section, we are going to go to each section. And give that name. What happened? I think I don't have a section here, right? Maybe miss something. I don't find that. So section class is equals to let me double check on that. So here is my second section with an image and div tag, and this is my third section. Right over there. And that's the third. All right, so I gave that class name store section to each of my three sections. And now let's go into our CSS file. And what we wanted to do is we are going to apply display flex. Right? And there's another one. So right now, let's first run it and see that. And you see right over here inside, right, after my image, sleep and the elements has shifted to the next to it. Same thing for the food section. The H2 tag food and the list items shifted next to the image, and the same thing for the third one, shop and the list items shifted next to the image. So we have said display flags, and that's how you accomplish it, display next to each other. And here guys, one more attribute over here. We are going to add, that's a default line, all right? And you're going to do here display. All right. So why I did this thing? Because Flex is a new thing. This Flexbox model is pretty new concept. So let's say if there is a website and you're displaying on a very old browser, which don't support this Flex model. So by doing this, this is a vendor prefix. Basically, it will not complain over there onto those browsers. All right. So just a default value, you just have to give that. So coming back here, let's refresh this page, our main page, and see how it looks like on a complete this thing. And there it is. So it looks pretty good, everything. Welcome to Touchdown with this image in the center. This we achieved through our layout, and we displayed all the components next to each other. And now the only thing needed is little fixing for our footer tag right over there. All right, so for the footer, yes, let's do that. We are going to apply some more layout categories to make it look neat on our web page. So what we are going to do is going into REPL and doing that. So go back to your HTML file. And here is the footer section. We have already given a primary footer. Okay, so we are going to use that name and go to our CSS file. And we already added, so I'm going to scroll up. There is primary footer. So we have added the background color. Here, what we wanted to do is text align center. All right, so right now I said, okay, text align center. Let's look on the big full page. So right now I haven't refreshed my page. It is on the left edge. Right now we set text align to the center, and if we run it, there it is. So it's right in the center of our web page. And here let's add a little more spacing around it. And as I talked about the box model, so from there I'm going to use the padding space. So let's add that padding of 2 pixels. Since I did not specify any particular edge like left, right, top, or bottom, so this means this padding is applied to all the 4 sides. And let's look on the big page. It's much more better view over there. And now you can see I added that padding space of 2 pixel, and you can see my background, right? My border has become bigger and it is aligned on all 2 pixel from the top, 2 pixel from the bottom. Now, why you don't see 2 pixel? Of course, because it's a whole page and we have already given text align center. So it have created right in the center over there, and a browser will automatically render it accordingly. So it looks pretty good now over footer section. All right. We did padding, we just did that one. All right. So this one is talking about giving more like margin to your body tag over there. All right, to the entire page we are talking about. So that's what they are doing with the margin 0. And here, yes, this is the one I wanted to add it over there, more spacing to the list items. Again, a very useful, which you might be using in your competition as well. So we have already a list over there, right? All right, to add those spacing between your images and to your list items, what we are going to do here is go to your sections in each section into your div tag. Let's give it a class name. And we are going to give it here store details. Okay. And now go to your second div tag, give it the same class name. Store details. And to our last div tag, store details. All right. So now we are going to add the spacing here. So go to your CSS file and let's and here we wanted a little bit margin from the left hand side where your images and where your list elements are. So we are adding that spacing over there. Margin from left. So I've specified the margin from the left. So it is just because we don't want any other thing. We are increasing right this space over here. So that's why margin from left side, I have an image component. From there, I wanted a little more spacing, and that's what we are doing over here. So if we refresh here and look into over, and you can see it has increased that space, right? And going back to our whole page right now, you can see here, without refreshing this page, there's a very less gap over here between my div tag and between this image. And let me refresh. It's a slight increase, not big one. Obviously, we don't want too big a gap, but yes, pretty decent gap. And again, depending upon the requirement, right? If you wanted to give more gap, of course, you can just change the numbers. And that's what we did it with regards to our margin left category. All right, guys, so this is that. And now the list spacing, another element that we are going to do is the list spacing, and that's what we are telling is you have these list items if you want to increase the spacing between them, right? So that's how you can do that. So to do that, again, we are going to go to our HTML file. And since we are talking about list item, right? So the class name now you have to think is it's a list item. So I have to put it into my li elements. So go to your main section. Inside that section, go to your li element and give it a class name here. And let's give it store name, because here we are giving the store names, right? So class ID makes sense to give that. And again, to my each element, list element, give it the same class. Go to the second section, give it a class name there. And to my second item in the second section, and now to our third section, and same thing, go to your list item, give it the class name. To the last item in the last section, li item, give the class name. So now let's go into our CSS file and let's add that spacing. And here we just wanted a little margin, and we wanted it from the bottom side. And if we run it, you will see it added more spacing between that, right? From the margin from the bottom. Because when this list item will see is going to the bottom and say, okay, this much space I need it. So it's going to render ZZ Hotel and giving 10 pixel over there. And same thing, let's go into our big page. Right now you can see they are pretty close to each other. And if we refresh these, pay attention to your list items over here. And there it added those spaces. So why I did the margin from the bottom? Because I just need a bottom space all around. I don't need anything. There's a pretty much good space from the top. So I just needed bottom space. That's why margin from bottom, we did it over here. Margin bottom 10 pixel. And guys, the last part of it is that we are going to add the spacing to our sections as well. So in our main, we have 3 sections. So we are going to add a little bit margin and we are going to move them to the center. So let's do that. We already have an ID for that. And here we are sections, because each section contains the store section. So we are applying some more layout to it. So let's go into our CSS part. And we already have store section right over here where we did the flex thing. Go over there. And here what we wanted to do is margin. And we are also wanted, so because this contains, the store section contains the image and our div tag, right? So we are specifying for that entire thing. the 450 pixels. So it's going to give that much width to each section, and then it's going to automatically give the margin of 50 pixel from all sides, because I did not specify. So this is from all sides, left, right, top and bottom. And if you run it, and again, I think I should be doing it, refreshing my big window up there, but just let's see from here. There it is. So you will see it has already aligned to the center. Let's run it here to have a better view. Right now, this is how it is. And now if I refresh it, there it is, right? So it has shifted because I have given a width of 450 pixels. So it is taking that much width to this component. It has to give, it has to allocate. And then I did a margin of auto over there, right? So it is automatically giving a 50 pixel margin. And again, here is how we did that. We did width and we applied the margin to that. Going back here, this is what we have accomplished. Started with HTML, applied the CSS, and here is again one more time over end result. Welcome to Touchdown with the header section, main section divided into 3 subcategories with the H2 tag and the unordered list item over there. And we added licensing, permissions and all that with regards to your images, and you always need the images when you're creating web pages. So Cupcake offers a variety of well-made photographs, and there are free images that you can use it, and there is also Eco Moon that gives you the icons that you can use it freely. All right, so here is that, and I can post that link in the chat, which you can refer it. Just loading up there. So I will send that link once it loaded, guys. It's just taking time to load as of now. And those are 2 links, which I will point it out. And that being said, we have come to the end of this workshop. So if you guys have any questions, feel free, put them into the Q&A chat section.
Yeah, guys, once again, just if you have any questions or anything, anything regarding the workshop, anything regarding these, the fonts or these images or other websites or useful links, now's the time to fire off those questions. And you can use either the chat here, or I guess the Q&A there. So,
Okay. Yeah. So font family link is already there in the chat. Okay, Kaden, can you add that link to QA sections?
yeah, the one in the chat, right?
Right. I think someone is asking from there. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, so if you open that link forms.googleapi.com, you will see there are others. So like we did Open Sans. So if you see other families, you just change that equal sign and you will find other things as well over there. This is how your that cupcake image website is. That definitely gives the free images. And how do I get the image to show up? Well, if you need the image to show up, you use your image src. And if it is not showing up, might be check on your spelling. So the text file for your image should match up. All right. And
We have another question about buttons. In the it's the open question in the Q&A.
Q&A. Okay, is it okay? Oh, okay. How do we?
I think you might be cutting out right now.
You create the button is, hang on, I have to. All right, so someone mentioned, someone is talking about it. So I will just do it over here after the footer. I mean, it has nothing to link, but just how to create the buttons over there. So it's a form element. You have to add a form tag for that. Closing form tag. And here you can do input. Again, these are all the elements. Since you want button to be added, you can give it any name for your, let's say, and the value that you wanted to put on it. All right. This is how you create the button. So you, in the form, you specify the input type, and if I run it, you should see a button. Click here right now. Yes, you can invoke. So for that, you have to learn the JavaScript. You can add functionality to your website, and the button is right over there. I hope that answers your question. And again, how did we add it? It is a form element. You first surround it in the form. And then you specify the input type name and whatever you wanted to display on it, like click here, whatever you want, click here, or maybe submit. That's the most common values over there. And again, If I run it and show you, it's right there. Right now it's say click here, and if I refresh, I just show you the submit as well. That's how you create, guys. And there it is. And someone asked before, which I answered. I was trying to load my REPL. I think they are not able to show up the image. Again, guys, for the image, if it is not showing up, one thing is when you load whatever your file name is, like it is townfood.svg, right? One of the common mistake that a lot of the student does is just the spelling mistakes over there. So make sure in your image, we have used so many images over here. You can see here, the source src equals to, this should be in the quote marks, in the quotation marks over there. The naming should match up with a dot notation. You have to give your extensions also, right? If you have like PNG or JPEG or whatever your images is, you have to give the full name. And make sure your images are over there, right? So if let's say this image is in your desktop and you're referring it over there, it will not work. If you put it in the folder, let's say you have created another folder images and you put everything, you have to give the full name. So on front of it, you have to give the images, then / and then do that. But since I uploaded all of the single images over here, I haven't used any folder, so I don't need that images in front of it. So that can be another issue, that you're not able to see the images. Domain name, I think, Kaden, there is another workshop with regards to domain name. So someone is mentioning, so maybe you can take that. Yeah.
Yeah. So regarding the domain name, so there was going to be a workshop regarding XYZ and setting up your domain, but instead you'll have to use the pamphlet in the participants folder. All of you get a free domain for a year. The promo code for that is in many of the emails. I can send it to you directly if you DM me on Discord. I'll be able to give you that. But if you go to the participants folder, and the XYZ pamphlet will help you set up a domain, and it'll also show you how to put your HTML into that domain. It's pretty easy. You can also directly contact XYZ if you need further help with that. But for now, you can just work on developing your code on, you know, any platform of choice, including Replit. But it'll be easy to kind of, the way you change your domain name will be through XYZ, making an account, logging in, using the promo code. And then from there, you can, of course, change up your website. And regarding the buttons as well, there'll be another workshop tomorrow, kind of looking over a case study of a website, but looking more at the code behind the website. So there'll be a lot of cool things and different functions you guys will be able to learn there as well. I would also encourage you guys to also look into in the participants folder. We put a few resources there, which have a lot more information about specific functions. And of course, you got the internet as well. So make sure to utilize those resources as well.
So any other question, guys?
If that's it for questions, I think then we can call it here. We can call it the end of the workshop. So, I mean, we've had people coming in and out of the workshop quite a bit. So we moved down from 15 people to 5, but that's all good. The recording will be released, guys. So if you want to go over this workshop again and, you know, see something specific, you can always go back to the workshops folder where we'll have a document the same way in which we shared with you the opening ceremony. You'll be able to view this workshop again. So keep an eye out for that. We'll make another announcement. And besides that, just a big thank you to Mrs. Bonsall for coming here today and giving us, giving you guys the opportunity to learn a bit more hands-on about HTML and CSS. We know this is an event that may have a range of people from beginners to more advanced coders. And so it's really great to have her here today to teach you all and to answer your specific questions and also give you just a really great and thorough introduction to coding. So thank you once again.
My
And just another thing, guys, as you all know, and as you've probably seen on social media as well with our accounts, Genius Coders does have a promotion going on. So if you are wanting to learn more, whether that's, more of this kind of stuff, or you're taking AP Computer Science or any other similar courses like that, or just want to learn more coding in your spare time, there is a promo code with XdHacks where you can get 20% off their courses. We have a lot of information on this and also promotional resources on our Instagram and in the participants folder. So if you want to know more about this, you can visit those places or just contact me directly. So once again, thank you so much, Lena, for coming in today. We can't thank you enough, because support from workshops is what keeps our organization running. So thank you once again. And I
pleasure,
mean,
Kaden.
yeah, if there aren't any last minute questions, then I guess that's it, everyone. And we'll see you again in around an hour for the Introduction to Backend event. Alrighty. Cool. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice afternoon. We'll see you in a bit.
All right. Thanks, Kaden.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming out. It was great to have you here.
Same here, Kaden. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, it was really, I really liked the presentation. It was really informative and all that. It's really great. Yeah.
Thank you.